show, Amanda.
Thank you so much.
So here on Tech Confessions, we like to find out when your software-defined moment was. So when, as a technologist, you started thinking more about software than hardware?
Okay. Well, I started using computers a very, very long time ago, basically when I was born, because they were at my house. My dad had a PhD in electrical engineering. He worked on microcomputers, and then 8086 was my first computer. And then I decided when I went to college, I wanted to become a geneticist. And so I went into biology as my major, and my first lab was to count red blood cells. And I'm like, this is stupid. Who wants to count red blood cells? This is awful. So the only other option for a degree at that time was computer science, which is all programming, so software, right? I'm like, this is hard. My brain doesn't work that way. I didn't get that part of the gene, or that DNA strand, whatever it might be. So I was like, this is awful. But I really loved the hardware aspect and, building my own PCs and installing other people's software and using other people's software, namely video games. So,
video games.
Just pretty much video games. So, after I left college, I worked at an ISP, I worked at an ASP, I worked for another software company, but always in IT on the customer side. And eventually I made my way to Colorado and worked for a manufacturing company that did insulation and roofing tile. And that was when I was introduced to VMware technology. So I'd have to say that was my turning point, because who thinks Active Directory is fun, right? Like Windows 2000 came out, that's not really exciting. Now I have more stuff to learn in Active Directory, and that was a pain. But when I was first introduced to VMware technology from the local VMware team, they came in and demoed vMotion, and I was like, oh, it's like discovering fire, right? So I was super excited about software at that point, because it just made life so much better.
That's so cool.
That was my software-defined moment.
So in the office of the CTO, you get to see kind of that super cool bleeding edge stuff, and also all the kinds of interesting things that customers are doing.
Yeah.
Can you help us project into the future? Where do you think we're going? What do you see?
So there's all the buzzwords of IoT and blockchain and AI and ML and whatever other alphabet soup you want to add in. But none of that stuff is really figured out yet. Nobody really knows the use cases or what they're going to do with it or how they're going to do it. So I think over the next 5 years, that will be the discovery for most enterprises to say, all right, here's the emerging technology, part of the business. How are we going to apply that? So a lot of customers I speak to are just starting their IoT journeys, just hiring their first data scientists. Outside Silicon Valley, this is all new stuff. And so building the digital foundation that we talk about and using, device management across mobile devices, the tablets, the computers, the watches, to, the next version of Google Glass, that's really where people are spending a lot of their time. And I think in the next 5 to 7 years, that's when what we call emerging technologies now will really take root in those businesses.
All right, now real confession time.
All right.
Do you still play video games?
Totally. In fact, I have a session tomorrow about emerging technologies, and one of my slides is a screenshot of my guild running a raid in Elder Scrolls Online. So I'm really bummed that I'm in European time and my guild raids at 10 p.m. Eastern, because I'm like, guys, I'm not running at 2 a.m. or whatever it is. So I had to disconnect. I log in so I get my daily rewards, but that's it while I'm in Spain.
I love it. I feel like now we've gotten to the bottom.
Yes, now we really know, Amanda.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's awesome.
And when you're ready to make your tech confession, join us at techconfessionstheshow.com.